Hey there everyone, Hanyou here, and welcome back to STEINS Gate. In the last episode, we figured out the phone trigger, and we are currently attending a lecture by someone we thought was dead, but hadn't died in this universe because the other lecture on time travel that we were going to attend in the building had been canceled because of the satellite that had crashed into the building. So she never went there, which means she never got killed, which means, hey, she's alive right now. Time travel. Time travel for the win. That's pretty much all I have to say for that, I guess. I like her. Main character says he doesn't like her, but I like her. She's an interesting character, very smart. We're talking about physics and stuff like that, which, you know, I like, so. Going to the tips we got yesterday, theory of relativity. I'm not going into this right now. If you don't know the theory of relativity, just go look it up. Because I could talk for so very long on that, and that's not why you guys are here right now. Maybe I'll do a video on physics or something sometime in the future, but yeah. Japanese honorifics. I like these. This is actually very interesting. Japanese employ a system of name suffixes that define the speaker's relationship to the addressee. The common honorifics are as follows. San, the most common honorific used with strangers, people of equal status, and in general whenever one needs to be polite. When used after the given name, Kiyoma-san, it indicates a closer relationship. Kun, an informal name suffix generally used for male friends or male subordinates, also used by males towards female subordinates in professional environments. Chan, a diminutive suffix that indicates high affection, usually used for small children, young girls, or between close female friends. Tan, an even more diminutive version of the chan suffix, most often used for fictional characters, especially anthropomorphizations for added cuteness. She, a literary honorific generally used by formal publications such as newspapers. Some otaku, such as Daru, use she regularly. Luis-chan, the main heroine of the anime The Familiar of Ten, a tsundere. Her voice actress is the Queen of Tsundere, Sugimiya Rie, anyway. Nicknamed Sugyu. Hold on one second. That name actually sounds familiar, so I'm going to do a quick check. Sugimiya. Oh, her name changed. Yeah, she got married. Her name's now, Kugimiya Ray, whatever. And let's see, is she? Let's see. Check out her mal for a list of stuff that she's done. Voice acting roles. Okay, she hasn't. Well, okay, she has done more, but one of the ones I instantly recognize her from is one that I've just watched recently, and that is Akaneniro ni Somaru Saka, and she plays Yuhi. So that's interesting. I literally just watched that last week or earlier this week. I think it was last week. So hey, you know, I'm fine with that. She plays Karine in the Bleach movies and the anime too. Okay, and Nemu. So that's another thing I recognize her from. I'm not gonna look through it all, but yeah. So her name's changed. She got married. So if you look up the name that's listed here, it'll actually give you her new name. So yeah, she's a really good voice actress. I like her work. I like what she's done as well. So carrying on. If you were to keep running at the speed at that speed for 24 hours, 48 hours would elapse in the rest of the world, meaning you would jump one day into the future. Understand, Hoin Kyoma? Good. Targeted. Why are you singling me out? I'm doing my best to hold back, but it looks like Makise Kurisu wants to pick a fight. I wish that she hadn't said that name in front of so many people. It's too great a risk to let others know my true name. But that's not really time travel, is it? Now a professor calmly makes an objection. True, Makise Kurisu's example isn't strictly time travel per se, but I never expected an older man, a professor at that, to refute an 18-year-old girl. Maybe he's just testing the genius girl's resilience. Yes, you're right. The genius girl readily concedes the point. If she were a normal 18-year-old, it would be impossible for her to be this calm in front of all these people. A normal 18-year-old would panic when refuted by such a distinguished-looking professor. And yet, Makise Kurisu is giving off an aura of gutsiness and that says, I can take this guy on. Excuse me. And what about going to the past? Going to the past is possible right now. Take a look at the sky at night. You can see light from tens of thousands of years ago, can't you? That's not time travel either. That's also true. Just because we can gaze into the past doesn't make it time travel. This time, it's a nearby student who objects. Well, I was just getting started. Was it just me, or did Kurisu look a little nervous just now? Let's say we wanted to make a machine that could physically transport people through time. What would we need? The best candidates for this are cosmic strings and wormholes. A cosmic string is a string-shaped crevice with extreme mass. A string-shaped crevice? That must be how they enter our universe. But do cosmic strings really exist? The crevice is about as wide as an elementary particle. Elementary particles, I believe, are like the Higgs boson, right? Smallest unit of matter, however, the definition of what constitutes an elementary particle is unclear. Certain elementary particles have a corresponding antiparticle with opposite charge. I might be wrong about my presumption then, but I am not certain. It seems I need to look something up after this. Crevice is about is about as wide as an elementary particle and at least as long as the diameter of a galaxy. Interesting. But isn't this string theory? Or no, this is something separate from string theory. It has immense mass, so it distorts space-time. If you were to travel through that distortion, you could make a full circle around the string in less than 360 degrees. In short, you can do something resembling a warp. This is called a space-time angular deficit. When you pass through an area of angular deficit, transit time becomes 0. Now we apply this to a cosmic string moving at near light speed. According to the special theory of relativity, time will flow slower for the cosmic string in relation to its surroundings. Therefore, passing through the area of angular deficit would cause the transit time to become negative instead of 0. Oh, that's interesting. Very intriguing. In other words, you will arrive in the past after transit. If you use 2 cosmic strings, you can do a space deficit jump. If you loop back to your original location, you can return to the same time you started revolving. And that, roughly speaking, is time travel by means of cosmic strings. Superstring theory. By that way, just so nobody misunderstands, cosmic strings are not the same as superstrings. Okay, thank you for clearing that up for me. Superstrings should be... yeah. This is string theory. In physics, the theory that all matter in the universe is composed of strings, the vibration of which manifest as the elementary particles. This theory, which posits 11 dimensions, is currently impossible to prove experimentally. However, it is said that if this theory is proven, it will explain all phenomena from the birth and scope of the universe on the macro level to the elementary particles like quarks on the micro level. Okay, so thank you for pointing out the difference between the two theories. Now then, you need 3 things in order to travel to the past with cosmic strings. First, the cosmic strings themselves, 2 strings to be exact. By the way, they are hypothesized to exist only where the universe was first formed, so they might be a little hard to find. Second, you would need the energy required to make them move them at near light speed. That was a bit of a difficult sentence to say. How much energy do you think you'd need to accelerate something as long as the Milky Way to the speed of light? I'm pretty sure it's a little more than 1.21 gigawatts. And that's a Back to the Future reference. This thing's full of references now, isn't it? This earns a few chuckles from the audience. Third, you need a spaceship capable of reaching these cosmic strings and returning, with the time traveler alive, of course. What do you think, Hoin-san? Care to take on the challenge of cosmic string time travel? Like that's even possible. And why the hell is she addressing me? I wasn't even the one who jeered this time. Looks like Hoin-san doesn't want to take the challenge. In that case, let's consider wormholes. They may be a little more realistic than cosmic strings. By the way, Hoin-san, do you know what wormholes are? No, don't ask me. I'm trying to hold back here. Since I've been challenged, though, I can't leave the question unanswered. It's like a shortcut through space, right? Yes, that's correct. I got it right. You call yourself a mad scientist and you're worried about getting something as elementary as wormholes wrong? What the hell's the matter with you, man? Wormholes are basic physics. Well, basic to me when it comes to physics. I mean, come on. I sigh inwardly in relief. Meanwhile, I'm sighing because of the fact that you thought you might get a question, it's as simple as that, wrong. There are two wormholes joined by a tunnel. No matter how far away the wormholes are, transit time through the tunnel is 0. That might not actually be true. There might be a short transition time, but we're not absolutely certain that the transit time is 0. So keep that in mind, people. But oh no, there's a problem. The wormhole tunnel suffers from supergravity and collapses as soon as it opens. So we need something to negate the effect of gravity. So-called exotic matter, a substance with negative mass which repulses other matter. Negative mass, huh? Is it something that floats if you leave it on the ground? Maybe not. I can't even begin to imagine what it would be like. You call yourself a mad scientist, and yet you don't know anything, man. The hell's the matter with you? If anything, you're a half-hearted inventor. But, you know, you have invented some fairly intriguing things. Most notably, the phone wave, which seems to alter physical states of matter, but, you know. But how can you not know about exotic matter and wormholes and stuff like that? Come on, man. And you were complaining that she said time travel is impossible or whatever at the beginning of this lecture, and yet you know nothing about time travel. And nothing about the theories that surround time travel. Shame. Shame. You call yourself a scientist. Ha! Maybe not. I can't even begin to imagine what it would be like. Kurisu raises her right fist. Say that the wormhole tunnel is being squished by an invisible fist. In order to pass through, you need something that could oppose my fist's grasping force, so that I can't squish anymore. It's a very simple example, but it's a suitable one. Kurisu opens her fist. If you stabilize the tunnel with exotic matter injection, instantaneous travel between wormholes becomes possible. To travel through time, however, takes a little more effort. For example, let's say there's a wormhole entrance here in Akihabara and the exit is in LA. First, we send a wormhole in LA all the way to the end of the universe at near the speed of light, and once it's there, we yank it back to LA. How? According to the special theory of relativity, time slows down for objects moving at the speed of light, meaning the hole that returned to LA would be further in the past than the Akihabara hole. So now, if Hoin-san jumped into the wormhole, he'd arrive in LA several years before he left. However, this still can't be called time travel. It only seems that way. This is called Urashima effect. The important part is to return to Akihabara from LA through the wormhole once more, since the transit time is 0. Okay, now let's read up on the Urashima effect. Special relativity, a phenomenon originating from the fact that time slows down as an object approaches the speed of light. For example, imagine that an astronaut travels to a nearby star and back at close to the speed of light. This trip might take a few years from the astronaut's perspective, but he would return to Earth to find that thousands of years had passed in his absence. 101.21 gigawatts. Originates from a 1980s trilogy from Hollywood. Trilogy of Hollywood movies about time machines and time paradoxes. In the first movie, the inventor of the time machine said that it needed 1.21 gigawatts of power to travel through time. In reality, the unit gigawatt does not exist. The scriptwriter made a spelling mistake. The correct unit is gigawatt. Since the transit time is 0, Hoin-san will return to Akihabara several years in the past. Time travel complete. The prerequisites for wormhole travel are simpler than the ones for cosmic string travel. First, the wormhole itself. They may exist somewhere in the universe, but nobody has ever seen one. Second, the energy required to move a wormhole to the end of the universe and back at near light speed. Third, exotic matter, which, by the way, has not been confirmed to exist. Speaking of things that have not yet been confirmed to exist, we might have actually just confirmed the existence of dark matter. I'm not sure if any of you guys follow science news or anything like that, but I mean, if this is actually true and we were able to actually prove the existence of dark matter, then that is a gigantic step forward in the world of physics. I mean, don't get me wrong, the discovery of the quote-unquote God particle, the Higgs boson, was a gigantic step forward for physics, but this might even overshadow that. That's how important this is. So, keep that in mind, and if you're interested, look it up. So, implementation of either one would require a ridiculous amount of effort. Now, do you see what I mean when I said that time travel is an absurd concept? So I get it now. She wasn't saying it's impossible, she's just saying it's improbable. Improbability due to ridiculous requirements. Understandable. Definitely understandable. Now, do you see what yeah, okay. Time travel theories are all just thought experiments. Not one of them can create a viable time machine. That is my answer. Isn't there anything simpler, like something you can pull out of a drawer and just use or something? I'm afraid not. A firm declaration. This is the limit of modern physics. I can't say how it might change in 10 years, though. See? That's how a scientist thinks. She's saying, this is what we know now, and what we know now, it's improbable. There's no way. But that might change. The thinking of a scientist, I love it. I like her even more now. Besides, even if someone did overcome the logistical requirements, there may be other factors that prevent time travel from working. And that's because fundamental problems concerning the principle of causality have not yet been resolved. You mean time paradoxes and conservation of mass. Well, see, now there's a running theory about time travel that states if you were to go back in time and change something, it wouldn't alter your future. So you could go back in time, shoot your grandfather, you would still exist, but in doing so, you would create a split in the timeline. Your timeline would continue on as usual in the timeline that you didn't go back in time and shoot your grandfather, that your grandfather is still alive, but in the timeline where you went back in time and shot your grandfather, that would create a split in the timeline where your grandfather's dead, hence you are never born in that timeline. It's the essential thing for the multiverse theory, where every decision we make causes a split in the timeline, which gives birth to another universe, which basically indicates there are infinite universes. So yeah, carrying on. The mass of the entire universe is constant. If a time machine traveled from the future to the past, there would suddenly be an extra mass of the time machine and its pilot in the past, unless the universe took into consideration the fact of the time traveler, because the time traveler already went back to the past, so he was already in the past when the past occurred. That's where time travel starts getting confusing. It can't be a paradox if it's meant to happen, which means if it was meant to happen, the mass was already there because the time traveler was already there, if you can wrap your head around that. So, right, carrying on. I remember reading in a book, not a terribly reputable book, but still, that such a violation of mass conservation would put the universe in danger. It didn't say what kind of danger, though.
質量保存の法則を宇宙のようなマクロレベル、あるいは原子や素粒子などのミクロレベルの仕組みに当てはめるのは
If you think that conservation of mass applies to macro systems like the universe and micro systems like atoms or elementary particles, you're mistaken. What? Is that true? Ah, she's laughing at my reaction. That little... Oh, stop being that way. You think she's cute too. God, how mortifying. Conservation of mass only applies to chemical reactions. It doesn't hold in modern physics at all. Alright, well, there goes that whole theorization that I just did out the window, sort of. But despite the fact that it still stands. Sort of. Something can come from nothing. Wow, that's pretty amazing. Then what is the problem? The time paradox of time paradoxes. In other words, the grandfather paradox. But, okay, now that is one I just explained. And she's just about to explain it, so... Carry on, Kurisu. I like you. You're a good thinker. You're a deep thinker. I appreciate that. Oh, that thing where you kill your own ancestors before you were born. As long as this paradox goes unsolved, time travel can never be realized. Never. Except, you know, we can never actually solve it until we get time travel. Because unless we can prove the time split theory, we can't do it. We can't solve it until we solve it, but to solve it, we need to do it. So, yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a brain bender, but that's how it is, you know.
殺さなければいいんじゃないの？
What if you just don't kill them?
そんな単純な問題じゃあ
You
りません。
can't think of it like a sci-fi movie. It's not just about your family tree. There are far greater dangers than that. Really? It's called the butterfly effect, man. Come on. Basically, everything that what you killed would have interacted with, it's never going to come to be. What if what if you killed your grandfather, but your grandfather was the person who inspired Chopin to write music? Chopin would have never started writing music. I know it's a bit, but just go with me on this theory. And if Chopin never wrote music, what if his music never inspired someone else's music, and so on and so forth? That is essentially the butterfly effect. And with this, I am going to end this episode, so if you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more content in the future, and until next time, everybody, have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye.